We bought the cabin to escape people like Karen Whitaker. Escape the pettiness, the rules, the prying eyes, and the endless suburban interrogation that came baked into Pine Ridge estates like mold behind a wall you can never quite clean. The main house had been fine at first. A quiet street where every driveway looked copy-pasted, good schools with perfect attendance banners, a manicured lawn requirement that could probably get you shot if you let a single dandelion bloom. It was safe, predictable, and suffocating in the way only middle-class perfection can be. And presiding over that particular prison was Karen, the self-appointed tyrant of the Pine Ridge Homeowners Association, a woman who had turned her personal dissatisfaction into a bureaucratic cudgel. She was 47, twice divorced, and radiated the sort of permanent disapproval that makes plants wilt. Always in that same pink blazer like it was stitched directly into her skin, always with that clipboard held like a judge's gavel, always patrolling the neighborhood like a mall cop promoted to queen. We learned quickly that she treated every deviation from the HOA handbook as a personal betrayal. She once fined us $350 because our garbage cans were visible, for exactly 7 minutes past 8:00 a.m. Another time she threatened to lien our house because our Christmas lights were icicle style instead of uniform drape, as if we had committed war crimes against holiday decor. We swallowed the outrage, paid her stupid fines, and made polite smiles that hid the urge to scream. But every time another bright pink Karen email landed in our inbox, every time she strutted up our walkway with a fresh violation notice, we reminded ourselves, we had the cabin. 10 acres of pine and silence on Black Bear Lake, no HOA, no streetlights, no neighbors demanding you repaint your shutters because eggplant isn't an approved shade, just space, just peace, a place to breathe again. That was the dream, that was the sanctuary, except Karen hated rules she couldn't enforce. She hated that the world contained patches of land where she had no authority, and she hated specifically that we had found one. It started small, little passive-aggressive messages forwarded from the county tax office with her smug little digital signature at the bottom. Just making sure you're aware the structure at 1427 Black Bear Trail appears to have unpermitted decking. She said it like she cared about safety. We said she cared about control. There was no HOA up there, no jurisdiction she could twist into a noose, and that fact gnawed at her like a raccoon trapped in a cage. The first time she showed up unannounced, our Ring camera caught her marching the property line with a tape measure like she was scouting the battlefield before invasion. She returned again 2 weeks later, photographing our firewood stack like she'd uncovered a terrorist's cell. The third time she actually rattled the door handle like she expected it to just swing open because rules should bend when Karen wants inside. Jess, my wife, watched that footage at the sheriff's station break room and laughed so hard she nearly shot coffee out her nose. Jess is a sheriff's deputy. Jess does not laugh at much. But on the fourth visit, Karen didn't bother with the doorbell. She didn't knock. She broke in. It was 2:14. We were back in the city, asleep in our regulation-approved Pine Ridge bedroom when the motion alert hit my phone. Front door opened. Interior lights on. For a second I thought it was a glitch. No one drives 3 hours up a mountain in the dead of night to poke around someone else's weekend cabin. Then I checked the live feed. And there she was, Karen, inside, in our kitchen. Her hair flat from the rain, eyes wild, muttering to herself while rummaging through cabinets like she'd finally found the secret lab where we hid all our criminal landscaping supplies. I called Jess. She was already pulling on her boots. On my way, she said, voice flat and terrible, the kind of voice she only used when someone was about to experience consequences. We sped through the switchbacks of the mountain road, headlights slicing through the dark, every minute ticking by like lead weight in my stomach. By the time we reached the cabin, 3 long hours after the alert, Karen had been inside for hours to treat our sanctuary like her personal playground. She had cooked eggs in our cast-iron skillet, left the shells right on the counter like a raccoon in lipstick. She drank half a bottle of our Pappy Van Winkle, the expensive one we'd been saving for our anniversary, and left the cork rolling on the floor like the aftermath of a frat party. She took a bubble bath, yes, a bubble bath in our jetted tub, and left her wet towel on the heated floor as if marking territory. She rifled through every drawer, every closet, opened our nightstand, even cracked open the safe where we kept a firearm, the combination written on a post-it we thought was hidden. The Ring captured all of it, her packing, snooping, narrating her inspection like she was filming a reality show for deranged HOA presidents. But the piece de resistance was waiting in our bedroom. Karen, fast asleep under our duvet, mascara smeared down her cheeks, snoring like a malfunctioning leaf blower dressed in Jess's favorite flannel pajamas. Her phone, still playing the YouTube lockpicking tutorial she'd used, was clutched in her hand like a teddy bear. Jess called the state troopers before stepping foot through the door. They arrived hot and angry, weapons drawn, flashlights slicing through the hall. Karen woke up confused and furious, shouting something about unauthorized structure review, as if that explained breaking and entering, grand theft, bourbon, and pajama theft. They cuffed her right there, hair dripping from her bath, pink blazer nowhere in sight, and then the next morning came justice, real justice. Jess personally served the warrant, not the arrest warrant that storm was still gathering. This was the search warrant for Karen's house. Signed at 7:03 a.m. by a judge who had watched the footage with eyebrows climbing into his hairline. If we thought we'd seen the worst of Karen, we were so wrong. Inside her home they found everything. A binder packed with satellite printouts of our cabin. A folder labeled Evidence of Violations containing 400 zoomed-in photos of meaningless nothing, our doormat slightly crooked, a pine branch fallen on our roof, a reflection in our window that she claimed might be improper tinting. They found our spare key, the one we thought she'd only borrowed when she helped with our mail while we vacationed. She'd copied it, kept it, waited for her moment. And then there was the GoPro. Mounted once upon a time in a tree overlooking our bedroom window. 6 months of footage, nights we thought were private. The DA added felony voyeurism the moment they viewed even 10 seconds. When Karen collapsed, it was biblical. Her real estate license terminated. Her HOA throne ripped away in a panicked emergency vote after someone leaked the arrest footage. Her ex-husbands both immediately filed for sole custody, citing moral decay and extreme creepiness. Her pink blazer persona, once the proud poster child of suburban tyranny, became a viral meme. When HOA Karen's go feral, her influencer brand, yes, she had 187K followers, was dropped by every sponsor in a heartbeat. The internet feasted on her downfall. Now she lives in a studio apartment 1 county over, working the night shift at a gas station. Rumor says she still wears the pink blazer sometimes, even when restocking energy drinks, because it makes her feel important. We keep the spare key, the one she copied, hung on a hook beside our door, a reminder of the night piece turned predator. Right next to it is the new sign we paid extra to install above the cabin entryway. Private property, TRESPSSERS will be PROSSUTD. Smile, you're on camera. Karen smiles in her mugshot. But she isn't smiling anymore, and up at Black Bear Lake among the pines in silence we finally are.